Well, good morning. And as we let that great wave of springtime wash over us, I don't know if you've noticed, but it's that particular shade of yellow-green, and the sunlight is just at the perfect angle, and the temperature's pretty good too. It's really nice. And it only happens in spring. But that energy, and the birds are singing, and just really heralding the season of growth. All right. I'm going to invite you to take a nice deep breath. Center yourself in your chair for a moment. Release the breath. And just set everything aside for a moment in time. One more nice deep breath. And as you release it, relax. And know every moment is a holy moment, but this moment now is our time to come together with the One. And to enjoy each other's presence. And be here now. I invite you into the inner healing experience. Universal love enfolds me. Universal wisdom inspires me. Universal spirit enlightens me. Universal power encircles me. I am one, and all is well. As we begin the inner healing process, let me invite you to relax in quiet confidence, opening yourself to the miracle-working higher power, and symbolize the unity of your thinking and feeling nature by touching your chest with your hand. And let my words act as your own for your own inner acceptance and receptivity. I acknowledge that there is a power, intelligence, and wisdom greater than my own. I am in the midst of it, and it is in the midst of me, sensitive and responsive to my every thought, word, action, and feeling. I now make this true for myself by saying aloud, I acknowledge. Acknowledging the higher power working through my life, I admit that I am personally responsible for solving my own problems, while being guided and assisted by something greater than myself. As I am ready to surrender the conflicts of my ego to the wisdom of the infinite presence, I simply speak these words. I surrender. Knowing that forgiveness is the key to unconditional love and the feeling of heaven, I now unconditionally forgive anyone and everyone who has ever injured me in any way, real or imagined. And I now forgive myself for all my mistaken judgments and their resulting actions. From my deepest level of understanding, now I say, I forgive. Realizing that I continually experience the effects of my own thinking, I now choose to allow this higher power to recreate me deeply, filling my mind with thoughts that are only constructive, positive, loving, and beautiful. I call upon this divine inflow by stating aloud, I choose. I choose. I now center upon that one special idea that I am willing to accept as real for me in this coming week. Visualizing the idea as already acted upon and brought to pass in seeing my idea become a fact of my experience, I enjoy the happiness and peace of my thought fulfilled. And gratefully speak these words, I accept. Knowing that I have an everlasting place in the midst of the power that sustains all creation, as well as the support of all those around me, I allow myself to relax in the peace of fulfillment and gratitude and say, I release. Now, in my mind's eye, I envision the presence of someone near and dear to me, a family member, friend, mentor, someone who has touched my life in deep and loving ways, someone who's not physically present in the room this morning. And I turn towards that image in mind and say, I am grateful for the good in your life. I now open my eyes to the world around me and turn joyfully to the person next to me and share my gratitude and confidence by saying, I am grateful for the good in your life. For you in the Zoom room too.
Hello, 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 everyone. Good morning. I'm left-handed, so I need to put this over here. So give me just a second. I want to thank Natalie, Brian, and Jeffrey. That was the absolute perfect song for my talk. I don't know how you guys do it every week, but I mean, all they have is a title. They don't have anything else. And they just find the perfect music. I know every now and then Jesse might suggest a song or something, but they're so good at this. You guys are so good. Thank you. Can we give them another round of applause, please? Thank you. And that actually does lead directly into my talk. Last week when Jesse started out, he was saying how there's not really a theme. There's sort of a theme around springtime and things like that. But, you know, the way the universe works, it's evolving, right? And it's funny because I was looking at it 2 weeks ago when Jim got up here. He talked about pre-cause, right? And the question of the knowing from the place of good and that wonder that we have, right? I'm calling it pre-cause for the purpose of this talk and to kind of lead me into line. He never said that, but that's what I'm rewording it as, with that wonder. Then last week, Jesse talked about potential. First cause, and he did say first cause, going into that stored and unmanifested energy, that energy that exists out there in the ether that we go to. Well, today I'm talking about second cause, or intention. How we pick and choose who we are, what we do, and how our life will be. And the most beautiful part of it all is if we don't like it, we have the choice, the freedom, and the power to change it. We can change anything in our life by, number one, doing our spiritual work, knowing we are a choice, knowing we have that choice. Number two, setting our mind to knowing, not just wishing or hoping, but an actual knowing. And then number three, doing the work to get it. That's all it takes. It may take longer or shorter. We don't know when it's going to be here. But if in our mind's eye we see it and know it as true for ourselves, because we are connected to unlimited abundant source, the possibility of anything is there for the taking for us. That's the beautiful thing about intention. We have and we are a choice. We know that we live in, with, and through co-creation. With intention, with the power of choice, we can decide what we want and how we want. The problem is we get in our own way. Our ego, we know that little word right there has a big, big place in a lot of our lives. Now, let's not crap all on ego, because there's purpose, right? Our ego protects us a lot of times. Our ego helps to bring us down and back to the reality that we live in a lot of times. It's a warning test, a litmus test. Sometimes, though, it goes a little off kilter. That's when we need to rein it back in. The ego is the place that reminds us of the limitations that the world has placed on us. The wonderful thing, though, about that is the I am that you are can overpower and overshadow that ego self in each and every moment with intention, with purpose, with that knowing. It's so funny. There are so many artists, whether they're actors or actresses, musicians, things of that nature, who have quote unquote made it, right? And they'll do an interview with them and say, well, was this always what you wanted or whatever? How are you, how do you feel about being here and this kind of thing? So many of them, say, I always knew this is where I was meant to be. I never questioned it. I knew this is what I wanted. And I had to do every single thing in my power to get here. And so no matter how many no's they heard, no matter how many doors were shut in their face, no matter what obstacles they came up to, they kept going, they kept moving, they kept trying again, because they knew in their heart of hearts that was where they were meant to be. That kind of drive, that kind of purpose is not limited to some actor or musician. I have that. You have that. You have the ability to know what your life is meant for, why you are here for the limited time you are here on this planet, what you are designed to do, designed to be, and who you are for this world. That power resides in you. It's a matter of you choosing, you listening, and you acting. That's it. That is it. Now, we'll say this. As much as we know we're called in this world to be the forces of good, to be that love that this world needs, that healing heart. You wouldn't be in this teaching if you weren't called for that. That's our basic calling. We live in a world where we see a lot of divisiveness, a lot of anger, a lot of tension and aggression. And sometimes those feelings can even touch us, whether it be from individuals that we know and love, or whether it be from politicians, whether it be from the people around us, whoever it may be. It is our obligation to remember, even when we don't agree with individuals, they're still godlings. Even when they do the most heinous acts, they're still humans. We know hurt people hurt other people. We know that not everyone has the gift of this teaching and the knowledge consciously that they are a choice in this world. And so it was funny. Jim brought up the question of why does God allow evil in this world? And it's funny, as soon as he said that, I thought people have choice and people choose evil sometimes. There are consequences to actions. So when people choose negative actions, there are negative consequences. But that's why we're here. We're here to be that positive force. We are here to counteract any of that. If they don't know that they have a choice, we're here to remind them. If we can, through our own words. If we can't, through our actions. Through being the best that we can possibly be. And trust me, I know, standing up here holding this mic, it's very easy to say. When you're in traffic and that person cuts you off, it's not as easy to say. When you're at the job and someone is combative with you, or you feel attacked, you feel threatened. In those moments, those are the times when your spiritual work comes into question the most, and those are the times that you have the obligation, the calling to act in love. That's second cause. Think and move in this world with intention. Not just when it's easy, not just when it's convenient, but more importantly, when it's not convenient. Most importantly, when it's not easy. That's how we create a better world. Because everything you do, every action, every single word that comes out of your mouth has a ripple effect in this world. You either act in love and light, or you act in the shadows. We're here to be the love. We're here to be the light. We are here to be the reminder of truth. There is reality and there is truth. Reality says that your body may have dis-ease or ailment. The truth of you is that the I am who you are was born whole, healthy, and perfect, exactly how you were supposed to be. The reality may say to you that your funds are limited. You have limited resources. The truth of you is that you are connected to a higher, divine, spiritual, unlimited, abundant source of everything, and you have access to it all. Reality may say that you can't. The truth of you is that can't never existed at all. When my boys were little, we had bad words, which are the obvious sources. We won't go into those. We also had not nice words. In my house, there were certain words that you could not say because I would not allow it. Can't was one of those words. You don't tell me you can't. You might not be able to at this time. You might not know how right now, but there's no such thing as can't. Not in our house. Hate was another word. You don't hate it. You might not like it, but you don't hate anything. That's not allowed in this house. You don't call yourself names. You don't call your siblings names in this house. Because the I am that you are is love and light. And so because of that, there's no name calling in this house. You might not like what that person did, but you always love who they are. And that doesn't just go for your siblings. That's the world. You might not like what they did. And trust me, there are people that do some heinous, horrific things to one another. But you always, always, always love who they are at the basic human level, because that is what we are called to do. Liking someone and loving someone are two very different things. Very different. You can love someone and not be around them. You can love someone and not condone their actions. You can love someone and choose to protect yourself from them. That's okay. What's not okay is painting someone as a monster or a villain and writing off their humanity. Because once you write off someone's humanity, then now you're giving yourself justification, not only yourself but the world, justification to do and treat them anyway. And once that happens, we've seen historically what happens when people get written off as property and things. Right now, our Jewish brothers and sisters are celebrating Passover. Years ago, they were captured in slavery because they were written off as a people. Years ago, people that looked like me were captured in slavery because they were written off as non-people. Even earlier than that, there are other people in other places right now who are suffering because they're written off. They're no longer people. They are property. They're things. They're in the way of us gaining the resources that we want, that you sit on, that you live on, that is in your house, in your neighborhood, under your ground. Now, we may not be able to do much about wars and violence and things of that nature, but what we can do, what we are called to do, is put as much love and light out into the world as we possibly can, so that maybe with the ripple effect, it'll reach the hearts and the minds of those who do have a say in those things. Because if I touch your life, and you touch the lives of the people around you, and they touch the lives of the people around them, that ripple effect goes on and on and on, and then maybe we can reach a higher place where compassion reigns, where the world does live in peace and harmony. That's our goal. That's our objective. And whether it happens in your lifetime, my lifetime, none of that matters, because we know we live in infinite possibility. We know time is relative. And so because of that, the timeline is not what's important here. The work is what's important. One of my favorite books is The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. 4 things that you can do in your life, where you are, no matter who you are, no matter how you are, that you can do in your life. Oh, they're on my next page. 1, be impeccable with your word. Your words have power. Your words create not only your reality, but the perceptions and realities of others around you. Live in truth. Acknowledge reality, the disease in bodies, the limitations in funds, resources, time, things like that. Live in truth. Know the truth of who you are, how you are, what you are capable of, what the people around you are capable of. Don't take anything personally. Hurt people, hurt other people. There is, I don't know what to call it, I guess a trend or something right now, especially in movies and things like that, of having these movies with characters that were traditionally considered the villain and telling the movie from their perspective. There have been a few, especially Disney, things like that, where you see the traditional villain, and then once you see the story from their perspective, even if you still don't agree with what they did, it's like, I get how they got from there to there. All we have to do is remember the humanity of others. 9 times out of 10, that person that's being the ugliest and the meanest and the most hateful is doing that because they're in pain, they're in fear, they feel powerless. And again, not condoning anyone's actions. It's about understanding that they are coming from a place of pain and loving them despite their actions. Don't make assumptions. We don't know what people have gone through. We don't know what our next step is going to be once we leave this room in this hour. We have an idea, but you have no idea what that experience is going to actually be like until you are there. We see people and we judge people based on our past experiences. It's not our place to judge. We can discern, but it's not our place to judge. And always do your absolute best in every situation, in every circumstance, no matter what it may be. Just put your best foot forward. You know, my kids will come home and they'll be like, man, I had this test. I don't know how I did. You know, it was like all these questions, and I did, and first thing out of my mouth always, did you do your best? Well, yeah, I tried really hard. I think I did. That's all I asked for. Whatever that grade may be, that's not consequential at this moment. What is consequential is you put your best foot forward. You did the very best you could at that moment based on the knowledge and information that you had. And if it did not turn out to be a passing grade, guess what? You get another chance to try again. We always get another chance. If every single time you wake up, every single time you open your eyes, that is a new opportunity to do better than you did yesterday. We always have a reset button. In this moment, right now, you have a reset button. It doesn't matter how ugly or hateful or mean you have been to whoever you have been that way to because they said or did something whenever they said or did it. Right now, this second, in this moment, you have a reset button. You can choose different. So I implore you, as a fellow religious science student, with the conscious knowing that you are a godling on this planet, choose better, especially when it's hard. If you're holding on to something and it's difficult to let go, you have the power to train yourself. One of the beautiful things that we have now, well, I say beautiful. I love words. I love looking up stuff and researching stuff. You know, some people might not feel the same. Google. You can Google anything, everything. And guess what? If you don't know how you want to feel, if you don't have the words, Google some affirmations. Wayne Dyer, a few years ago, wrote this book, Excuses Be Gone. And in that book, there are 18 common excuses for why we are not our highest and our greatest. And 18 equivalent affirmations to remind ourselves of how we truly are. It's just a matter of a decision and a choice. Those affirmations, along with any other affirmations you find, it could be a mantra, it could be a particular book that gives you that energetic feeling, that excitement inside of yourself that lets you know that you're on the right track. Whatever the case may be, however it is you need to trick your mind into knowing what you know you want and need to know. Let yourself be the best you possibly can. This is the life that we're given. And in this life, in each and every moment, we have choice and we have power. Our power is great. We just have to remind ourselves sometimes. The last thing I want to close with is acknowledging our Christian brothers and sisters who are going into Holy Week. So Palm Sunday, today is Palm Sunday, Jesus rode in triumphantly to celebrations with palms being laid at his feet. 1 week later, they're hanging him on a cross. There's all kind of discussions and all kind of he said, she says, as well as every single gospel in the Bible tells it with slight variations. But going from being beloved to being hated and despised, Jesus never forgot who he was. He was still the child of God. You are still the child of God. No matter how this world treats you, no matter how anyone treats you, you are still the child of God. And you have that Christ consciousness in you. You have the ability to use that power. Use it for the highest, the best, and the greatest good. Thank you.
It kind of reminded me of those pop stars, you know, when they grab the mic and start moving around with it. Yeah, something is afoot. But I got to start with something. I'm supposed to do announcements, but I think there's one announcement that actually deserves mentioning. First of all, that was a wonderful talk today. And I'll say a little bit more about it during the closing. However, I got to say this. An unspecified number of years ago, yesterday, a light came into the world in Louisiana, and that light was Daniel Mercadal. And that matches the song because everything is holy now. So as we come up to giving time, you know, I just want to say I really appreciate this center for all it's done for me. I appreciate the way that it moved me from thinking about sin and punishment to cause and effect. And I know it's really impacted the lives of lots of other people. So I'm asking you, whether you're in the room or you're online, to please continue supporting us, because as you heard from Daniel's message today, it's a positive message. We don't beat people up. We just don't. It's not in our DNA. You know, we actually uplift people. And if you like uplifting people, please continue to support us. And unlike PBS, I'm going to say thank you for all that you do and donate. So say with me now, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all the good I am and have. All the good I give and receive, I am positive now, and so it is. Okay. You know, when you mention press the reset button, you know, wacky things come in your head. And what came in my head was, a few months ago, our garbage disposal was not working. And I kept pressing the reset button, and nothing happened. So then I got on my hands and knees and looked underneath. And the people who'd come to put our new dishwasher in had unplugged the garbage disposal and never said a word, you know?
The connection has to be there too.
The connection's got to be there.
That's what that is. Yeah.
And the thing I really like about Creative Life is that you can just be yourself, you know? I mean, you really can, right? You can really be yourself. The ones of us who grew up in a more formal church setting, things like this would never happen. I mean, they just wouldn't, you know, right? They didn't talk back at, like the front row does at me sometimes when I forget things, you know. But also what was ironic was that this morning, Dainill, Barbara was reading about how women were not just treated, how they were viewed at the end of the 19th century. Yes. Women of all colors, you know. And she was reading that their prime job was to look after the house and have babies. Yes. And that was it, you know. So we've come a long way. You know, we have a lot further to go, but we have come a long way. And I just think, you know, for a closing, it's good to remind ourselves that we need to focus on what is good in life, because in our teaching, we claim that what you focus on with thought and feeling is what comes about. So I'm encouraging all of us today to start focusing on the good. Is it easy? No. Is there a lot of junk out there? Yes. Is there a lot of stuff on the news that is not good? Yes, that's true. But we have the choice. We are at choice. We teach that. We're at choice. We can choose, as Dainill was saying, to move away from focusing on what is not positive and focus on what is positive. And then also the quote from Rumi, which I've mentioned many times, came to mind. You know, out beyond ideas of right doing and wrongdoing, there is a field. I will meet you there. And that kind of sums the whole thing up for me, because it takes the whole judgment out of the picture. It goes back into what Dainill was talking about, which is discernment versus judgment. You know, you can observe that somebody ran a red light, but when you start criticizing them for that, then that becomes judgment. So our job is to choose discernment over judgment. So just know with me that as we move through our week, that we remember that we are connected with that one source that is in and through and as everything. It is in me, it is in each one of you, whether you're in the room or online. It's in the stars, it's in the planets. It is greater than all of this. And as Ernest Holmes said, it is right where you are right now. That power is running through you. And I claim that power running through me now to know that this world has the opportunity to be a better place. And I know that as I'm connected with this one source, as I'm connected with each and every single human being, that I claim that the thoughts for all good people are moving into the human subconscious, are moving into the race mind that Ernest Holmes called it, and are bringing about change in this world. I claim that that change is even now coming, and it's moving. And I can claim this because it is truth. And in gratitude for all of this, I release my word into that divine law, and I call it done, and so it is.
Say it with me now. Something wonderful is happening through me.
Something wonderful is happening through me.
I feel it in my body.
I feel it in my body.
I feel it in my
I
mind.
feel it in my mind.
I feel it in everything I am.
I feel it in everything I am.
I choose it.
I choose it.
I trust it.
I trust it.
I use it.
I use it.
And I love it.
And I love it.
And so it is.
So it is.
Yes.